In your darkest hour, in the blackest night, when you need me, I will be with you. So let us be about it!
Alright, welcome everybody. So, it's funny that I had my intro thingy for Gaddes, because as of this new Dawntrail expansion, he now looks a little bit different, which is why I've been hesitant to turn the camera towards his face. I've been kind of going a little nuts about this. I'm sure for everybody else, he'll look just the same to them. To me, he looks different, but whatever. Anyway, so this is now his new face, which is kind of interesting. Hold on, let me get out of G-pose so you can kind of see him properly. He probably looks the same to the average person, but I've been kind of like trying to come to terms with he just looks different to me. Now, if you saw that intro sequence, I don't know if you'll see the differences, but actually, hold on. Let me do this so I can do the expressions so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. They did these kind of like beauty passes to everybody when they kind of upped the graphical fidelity that I guess it's okay, but I was so bummed out that like, this is where I'm going to sound like I'm insane, but let's do some expressions so I could show kind of how he's changed. Some of this stuff is the same. What I find weird is they kind of changed how they close their eyes. Because now, when he closes his eyes, the eyelid close is almost at like a slant, as opposed to before where it was just like a flat lid close, but whatever. The thing that I find weirder is like, anytime he's angry. Because they've changed the brows that I used to use, and they also made the lips less interesting. It almost feels like they got rid of, like in the process of up-resing everything, they kind of got rid of what made some of the character races look more unique from one another. Like they almost look a bit more generic somehow. And they also look like they took some like, I don't know what the modern equivalent, do people still take Prozac? Like they all look less bothered by things than they normally would. Like if he's mad, for example, what's mad? So here's where I'm going to tell you right up front. This is my Pepe Silvia moment where I'm trying to tell people what the fuck happened to my Ellison, and they're gonna think I'm fucking insane because they're like, I don't see what you're talking about. I don't see the problem. I see the problem, but nobody else sees the problem. Is this me? Anyway, just maybe you'll see what I'm talking about. So on the left was pre-Dawntrail Ellison, my character. On the right is, I guess, new hotness or whatever. Now, I'm not crazy, right? There is a difference here. The eyebrows are not as slanted, and they're not tapered, like with a sharp point here. Now they're all rounded here. So it also just makes him look like, this guy does not look nearly as pissed as this guy, right? This guy's like, I'm gonna kick somebody's ass. This one's like, maybe I will. I don't know. But the thing I was so sad about, which makes me sound insane, is I really loved the old one's lips. He has a very, like, I'm going to zoom in here like a crazy person. He has, like, very plump, like, lips that have a lot of body. But what they did was they just basically gave him, like, boring lips. Or, like, the very generic ones where it's, like, you know, the thinner lip at the top, the tapers at the corners, and then, like, a big fat lower lip that kind of looks like it's actually fatter than the one on the side here. It looks like they put some filler in his lower lip. I actually did a draw over so you could really see how it's different. Big fucking eyebrows at the front. But look how different the lips are. They're not even the same. And they said that they were going to keep like designs the same. They were just going to increase the quality. Yet the left is cooler. Thank you. And they did, so it's funny that you say the dull skin, because it's like, or the eyes are dull, but also the skin is more, people are saying it kind of reminds them of like a plastic doll a little bit. And not just my character, it's all characters kind of have this new kind of skin tone to them. And he just lost a lot of that intensity. They also kind of made the eyes a little bigger, because this one looks like, this is the same cutscene in the same frame from that cutscene. So you know it's the same thing. He looked like he was more intensely like squinty here. And now in this one, he's really not. Yeah, the scar is also less severe, which is interesting. And now it's just like a straight line. I didn't even think about the scar. And then there's a dullness to the eyes that a lot of people have brought up across all character types that they've tried to remedy. In some lighting, it actually looks more glassy, but in a lot of lighting, it just kind of looks a little deader like that, which is so kind of sad. I think I had like a GIF here where I kind of went back and forth. This is another one. This is the same cutscene. He looks almost like happy. This one, he's like a shit-eating grin. The original one, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up. And then it goes to like, hey, what's going on, guys? Like, it's not, it's a totally different feeling to this expression. It's not the same expression anymore, but it's the same cutscene in the same frame. Yeah, man and his stunt double, exactly. So, my apologies if maybe during parts of the stream, I might, like, take a moment, because, like, I just have to adjust to this. There's no fucking way they're rolling back all this stuff. Yeah, these are different men. Okay, I'm glad you guys see what I'm talking about, and I'm not actually, like, Pepe Silvia. But yeah, it's a bummer. And I think there's whoever, like, on the forums, people are like, you guys are blowing this out of proportion, whatever. There's a lot of people that have used Fantasias constantly over the 10 years that this game has been out. But I've had this one character for 10 years. And I never changed his face. So for people like that commit to that one character, and they're like, this is my character, this is me. You can understand how that's kind of like, it's gonna take some adjustment. There's some things he does, like when I was looking through some of the previous cutscenes and replaying them with him, that look okay, they look nice. But it almost feels like they went through this, like, some people are conspiracy theorying that they did like an AI-assisted, like, upscale to the to the features, and that's why so many things are just like inexplicably changed. Really, there's no proof of this. But it is one of those things that kind of is a head scratcher about, like, well, why the fuck? Why did they do these changes though? What's the actual reasoning for it? And now it's like he doesn't look bad. He's still pretty, but he had like I don't know how to describe it. He had a something, before that gave him just a little bit of, like. Now it's just kind of like he's like somebody's backup save. Or something, and you're like, well, you can't get back the thing that you actually wanted, but it's like, this will do. This is like the 90% version where it's missing that last 10% that just gave you that little oomph. So I don't know, the je ne sais quoi of like what made Gaddes. Now even here, doesn't his default his default face just really kind of looks vacant. And it's everybody's face looks like this as a default. He's just kind of was like, yeah, cool, man. I've just smoked a fucking bowl, and I'm just like, yeah. Like, I don't know. It's gonna take a little while. Some people were so extreme with their comments, though, which is kind of funny. They're like, I'm gonna have to put a mask on my character when I go into cutscenes. Like, okay, there are extremes, right? There's some extremes in how people were reacting to these changes, but I still wish that he looked like he did before. I will not, I'm not lying in that it did put a bit of a damper on my excitement for Dawntrail, because I was thinking, like, this is just the thing I have to look at now, permanently. And I think the other people that constantly use Fantasia and constantly change their characters, they don't get it because it's like they're not locked to one face, or they don't have that sort of connection to one face that like like me as a player, like I have. And I get that. It's just, I don't know. MMOs are things you get sucked into for a very long period of time. So I think it's natural to form that sort of connection with the character. Yeah, even outside, you see how, like, it's this weird, it's almost like he put on makeup foundation, because he has this, like, softness to his face that he never had before. And so that's the other thing as a male Elezen. A lot of male Elezen before purposely look harsh, because they want to look kind of, like, severe. Just they got the thin lips and the usually pretty angular eyes and that sort of thing, because they all look kind of tough, right? but it feels like this update kind of buffed the edges off of all that toughness that Elizin have, and now they kind of look like they're too smooth. Like if you're a Lalafell or like a Makote or something where that smoothness may actually work for your character, then it might be okay. Like I haven't seen nearly as many people complain if they're a Lalafell. I have surprisingly seen a lot of Makote complain. And what's funny is some of them do side-by-side images where I'm looking at it and I'm like, I kind of don't see the difference. So I thought that mine was really visibly different. But who knows? Maybe to somebody else's eyes, they don't see, it's like the Pam from The Office meme where she's like, it's the same picture, But there was some Makote ones where they got so granular about particularly the eyes, because, eyes are the windows to the soul, etc. And they have huge eyes, that it's more noticeable to them. So we'll just see how it goes. Maybe it's one of those things that, the more hours I put into it, my previous feelings will kind of drift away. The problem is I've made so many videos with him in the previous face. It's kind of one of those things where like, that's going to make it actually take longer for me. If I hadn't edited so much content with the previous face, I don't think I would care as much. But because my mind's eye will always remember what he should look like, it's a bit of a hurdle. It's so frustrating with the face. Like, if you ignore the whole face fiasco, and it is a fiasco, because I swear to God, if you go to the forums, there is an almost 30-page post with people putting things in, even myself included, about how their character changed. So ignoring the face thing, everything else actually seems to be, uniformly or a unanimous, like, upgrade. Yeah, the character lighting is weird, so that maybe... And they've even admitted this isn't like the final. They will actively be kind of tweaking and adjusting as they go, because they already had to tweak and adjust even to get to this point based off of people's feedback during the benchmark. So there's a hope that maybe they'll better fine-tune it. I don't know if they're... I have less of a hope of them reversing their choices and going back to original face shapes. It feels like the shapes that they've landed on now are the ones I'll probably stick with. But at least for other things, there's still room for upgrades and updates and changes. People are so desperate, actually, speaking about that Square will look at their, not demands, but their problems that they're posting... They're translating their posts into Japanese and posting on the Japanese forums because the belief is that the dev team is probably more likely to look at Japanese posts with issues about face rather than English posts, which a lot of people think that no one ever looks at the English forums, which might be true, I don't know. But that just goes to show how desperate some people are about, please look at my post about my precious characters being changed so drastically. So yeah, anyway.